People do not like being tracked and having their personal information given to strangers. Yet, surveillance around the world purchase various smartwatch devices that they wear collecting personal data through all 24 hours of the day. Smartwatches surround people's daily lives and they collect data through different surveillance techniques such as GPS, heart rate monitoring, Bluetooth, an accelerometer, and even more. Smartwatches are worn by many Americans such as children, adults, athletes, and even couch potatoes. Today, I'm going to talk about the history, the purpose of a smartwatch, and how these devices play a role in human dignity. First, I'm going to address the history of smartwatches and why this was developed in society. The first smartwatch was nothing like ones developed today. Emily Moorhead states in The Evolution of Smartwatch in 2015 that the smartwatch was invented in 1972 and was developed by company Hamilton Pulsar. Although the smartwatch did not have the technology within what we have today, it still classifies as a smartwatch because it is able to gather information and store data. Continuing throughout history of smartwatches, many changes of technology have been added to these devices. In the article, A Brief History of a Smartwatch, written by Elstar Carlton, explains the first touchscreen smartwatch was invented in 2003 by the company Fossil and sold for around $250. From 2003, smartwatches have only grown and have added new technologies that allow users to have easy access to information just by lifting their wrists. People wonder why smartwatches are developed in society. The reason is the accessibility for the consumer. It is easy for a male or a female just to lift their wrist and see who is calling and texting rather than digging in their bags or their purses looking for their phone. This saves people time and energy and leads to many people wanting these devices. Another important aspect is fitness. Many people want these devices to have a detailed list of their daily activities to review at the end of the day to see if they need to increase fitness activity or decrease fitness activity. From 1972 all the way to the present day, smartwatches have grown tremendously, allowing people to buy the product and more technology to be implemented into the device, making the consumer's life easier. Next, I'm going to talk about the purpose of smartwatches and explain what smartwatches are designed for. The first smartwatch brand that I'm going to address that is very popular in today's society is Fitbit. In the article, Changing Face to Smartwatch, written in 2018 by Weston Hendrick, quotes, "The primary application remains sending and receiving notifications and health/fitness tracking." This explains that the design of the smartwatch is mainly for fitness, and even though it has other applications, many people only use it for fitness. This design is great for many fitness users and other users if they want it. The Fitbit started out as a tracker for running and walking, but has now grown and is able to track swimming, steps, sleeping habits, and even heart rate for the user. Written by Jason Snell and the first non-Apple smartwatch that's worth your time. Gathering this information about Fitbit devices, it shows that this device is very accurate at collecting the consumer's data for fitness. The second smartwatch that I'm going to elaborate more on is the Apple smartwatch. Apple smartwatch targets a consumer for easier access to apps such as texting, calling, calendar, and even more. The article Where, Why, and How states they will provide their users with a persistent digital identity, melding the function of driving license, credit cards, house keys, car keys, and computers in one small gadget worn on their neck or wrist. This is an outstanding concept with making a person's life easier and more accessible. But this also can lead to people's information being given to Apple's company. Apple is really great at integrating the watch with the user's phone and making it customer easy. These two smartwatches are great at gathering data on the user, but the question is, how are they using all this data that they collected, and does it intrude on humans' basic rights? The final topic that I'm going to address today is smartwatches and how this affects human dignity. Human dignity is a very important concept for people all around the world, yet many people do not take this into account when using or buying different technology. Smartwatches are worn 24 hours a day, and they track steps, fitness, sleeping, heart rate, and now even your GPS location. Even though smartwatches make people's lives easier, it also infringes on people's human rights. These devices are keeping track of people's daily habits and where they are and gathering so much information they could probably even guess where you're going next. This is a scary thought and leads to no privacy for your body and even now your location. And all this information is kept in an app that companies could easily get the data off of. Thinking about these companies target different consumers, I read the article Apple Watch pitched more as fashion items than tech gadget written in 2015. This explains that Apple created their watches to target a more feminist user so they are not just getting fitness advocates buying their products, since most smartwatches are bought by men in today's society. One way that Apple accomplishes this is by creating different bands to make the product more versatile to different customers. On the other article that I read, targets the Fitbit watch and allows parents to watch their children and know their location. And sure, this is really great for when you and your child are shopping and you don't want them to get lost. But there's a limit to when it is okay to monitor your kids, that when passing the limit, this can lead to less human dignity due to the lack of trust between child and parent. Smartwatches are great devices and allow for data to be collected, but due to people allowing their lives to be on these small devices, also allows for companies to gain their personal information, infringing on people's human dignity. Today I talked about 3 things: history, the purpose of smartwatches, and how these devices play a role in human dignity. Surveillance surrounds our daily lives, and smartwatches are just another way to allow data collection to occur in a high degree and targets many different types of people. Even though people do not like being tracked and followed, they still allow these small devices to collect data on them all the time, all 24 hours a day, in a number of different ways.